When we talk about the word hope, what really comes to mind? For most of us, right, it's this kind of soft, passive feeling. You're just wishing things will turn out okay. But what if I told you that to scientists, hope is something completely different? Like, they see it as an active, measurable skill, a powerful engine for getting things done that you can actually learn and get better at. So today, let's really get into the surprising science behind all of this.
So yeah, let's just start right there. What is hope really? Is it just, blind optimism? Or is it just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best? Well, the science tells us it's something way more concrete and a whole lot more powerful.
And this slide right here, this is the big shift in thinking. See, on one hand, we've got how most of us see it, a passive wish, an emotion that just kind of happens to us. But the scientific view, it completely flips that on its head. It sees hope as an active skill, a thought process you're in control of. And that's the key takeaway, isn't it? Hope isn't something you have, it's something you do.
Okay, so let's get into how this actually works. We're going to break down exactly what this scientific model of hope looks like, and this is all based on decades of solid research.
So here it is. It's called hope theory, and it was first put forward by a psychologist named C.R. Snyder and his team. And what's so interesting here is the wording, right? It's not about feelings, it's all about capability. It's about your belief that you can figure out a way to get to your goal, and, this is the crucial part, that you actually have what it takes to travel down that path. And the theory really breaks down into three simple but super powerful parts. Just think about it like you're planning a road trip. First up, you need goals. That's your destination, right? It's got to be clear, something you actually want to get to. Second, you need pathways. That's your map. And we're not just talking about one single route. It's the belief that if you hit a roadblock, you can find a detour. You can figure it out. And finally, you need agency. That's the fuel in your tank. It's that inner voice, that motivation, that core belief that you're the one who's going to get behind the wheel and drive.
This is what high hope actually sounds like. It's not, oh, I hope I can do this. No way. It's a declaration. That first part, I'll find a way to get this done. That's pure pathways thinking. And the second part, I am not going to be stopped. Well, that is agency. That's the fuel at its absolute strongest. And here's the thing, this isn't just some neat theory. This way of thinking, this skill, has a massive, measurable impact on pretty much every part of our lives. So let's actually look at the proof.
And we're going to start in a place where you'd think raw talent or IQ is all that matters, the classroom. And what the research shows here is just so consistent. I mean, across the board, from elementary school right up through college, students who have this high hope mindset, they don't just do a little better, they consistently show superior performance. And we're not talking about a small bump here, it's a really significant measurable edge.
But this is what's really amazing. The researchers, they controlled for everything you'd expect, right? Things like IQ, personality, even what grades the students got before. And even after you account for all of that, hope still predicted who would succeed. It's its own thing, a totally independent skill that gives these students an edge. Okay, so we know this way of thinking gives students a real leg up. But does that power translate outside the classroom? Like, into our physical health? Can a mindset really affect your well-being?
Oh, absolutely. It turns out people with high hope are way better at sticking to their medical plans, for things like asthma or diabetes, because they see the pathway to getting healthier, and they've got the agency, the drive to follow it. They're also more likely to exercise, to eat well, and to avoid risky behaviors. It's literally taking that goal-setting mindset and applying it directly to your own body.
And if you want a number that will just blow your mind, get this. In one study on track and field athletes, their hope scores explained, get ready for it, 56% of the difference in how well they performed. 56%. I mean, think about that. Their mindset, their goals, their maps, their fuel was a bigger deal than even their natural talent.
So, the big question is, where does this incredibly powerful skill even come from? And what's so fascinating is that we're not just born with it. The building blocks are put in place super early. That if-then thinking, which is basically the seed for pathways, starts when you're an infant. You learn, if I cry, then someone comes. And agency? That starts to click in when a toddler realizes, hey, I can make things happen. And this is so important, because if hope is learned, that means it's not set in stone.
Which brings us to what I think is the most empowering part of this whole story. If it's a skill we learn as we grow, does that mean we can still learn it, as adults?
So let's just ask it straight up. Are you just stuck with the amount of hope you have right now, or is this something you can actually build up?
And the answer from all the research is a huge resounding yes. Hope is malleable. It's like a mental muscle. And with intentional effort, you can make it stronger. Whether you're a kid, a teenager, an adult, or even an older adult, it's never too late.
Okay, great. So how, right? It's one thing to say, yeah, you can build it, but what does that actually look like? How do you do it? Well, let's take a look at a real program that was designed to do exactly that.
So this was a real-world program tested by researchers called Building Hope for the Future. It was a 5-week course that basically took all these big ideas from hope theory and turned them into practical lessons for middle schoolers.
And if you look at what they taught, this is the really important part. It wasn't about just thinking positive thoughts. Not at all. They were teaching specific, concrete skills, like how to set goals that are actually clear and doable, how to brainstorm a bunch of different ways to reach those goals, how to fire up that mental energy, that agency. And maybe the most important one, how to look at an obstacle and see it not as a dead end, but as a puzzle you just need to solve.
And they did this with some really simple but powerful activities. They had hope finding, which was all about spotting hope in their own lives. Then hope bonding, where they'd share their goals with each other to build up a support system. Hope enhancing was where they just practiced the skills over and over. And hope reminding was about looking back at what they'd already accomplished to build up some steam for what's next.
And you see, it all comes back to this one powerful statement. This is the whole point. The goal is to build that inner voice that doesn't just sit around wishing for things to get better, but one that actively goes out and creates that better future. Because it's got a destination, it's got a map, and it's got plenty of fuel in the tank.
So, at the end of the day, hope isn't a lottery ticket you're just waiting to cash in. It's a toolkit. It's a way of thinking, a strategy that actually gives you agency over your own future. And the best part is, it's a skill, something you can learn, practice, and get better at. So the real question for you is, what goals are you going to set? What pathways will you figure out? And what kind of future will you build with your hope?